Good morning, everybody. This morning it's cool and it's damp. Oh, and it's lovely. For a pregnant woman that's been so hot, I cannot tell you how happy I am this morning to have gone outside and for it to have been so cool and lovely. Today I just thought I'd give you a quick tour of my room as I promised last time. I haven't had chance yet because obviously we're picking up the new horse and everything that goes on outside. This is my special place. This is where I come and indulge myself in even more magic. There's Pompadour sitting there waiting for his wash and having his claws put on. Here we have a little clock. It's a family clock. It's a family heirloom that's stopped working, so Nick's going to get that one going. I'm quite into my clocks and I'll show you. So I've got the room's full of clocks. Oh, there's one. I'll turn him around. So over here we have a very old piano that doesn't work. We picked it up for, I think it was €15 from a Brookon out here, but I couldn't bear the thought of leaving it, so it ended up coming home. Someone loved it once, so she lives in here, and on top of her I've got stored my cups and saucers and all my vintage tea stuff, which I use for when I do teddy bear workshops, which I do here. At the back over there I'm in the process of building a very large teddy that's going to go on wheels hopefully in the end. So I'll just show you around slowly. If I back out, you'll be able to see. So here are all my fabrics, little bits of fabric here. These are from a very good friend of mine, Sian, who makes the most amazing dresses. I'll add a link to her website. She makes some medieval dresses. They're incredible. And so all this fabric is lovely, lovely velvet and silk, and oh, it's just beautiful. So I'm very lucky to have all the offcuts, and I use those on the bears. And then here, I'm a big puppet collector. These are the newest members of the family. So a marionette puppet, they're just the best for me. I just absolutely love them. So up here, this was my mum's, this one. It's a little dog. And we've got a school teacher here. These are recent. I've only just got these guys. They came last week. So they're brilliant. So you can imagine the fun the kids have when they come in here, because they're allowed to touch them. We play with this stuff, but it is only in here when mum's here. So when I have in here fixing bears or making bears, I let them use them in here. And then up there is one of the first bears I ever made. So he's a little bit wobbly. And we've got some unusual puppets here, which I've collected and been gifted. This one here, this horse, he's known as, well, I've been told he's Muffin the Mule. I'm not sure that he is, but he's very, very old. He's about 110 years old. So he hangs there. He's one of the favourites. The kids play with him a lot. And then we've got dear old Punch and Judy and all my fabrics. So these fabrics are lovely. This one here is Stife. So they're all, I've got more fabric coming because I'm getting low. And then you have my, you have to apologise about the little dog. That's Scooby. We've not had him that long, and he's still settling in, so he's very nervous. So if he sees something that worries him, he starts to bark. But hopefully, as time goes on, he'll start to calm down. So these are more of my fabrics. They're my favourite fabrics in the corner over here. I love using these. These are called curly fur, and they're actually not. They're synthetic fabrics, but they match such lovely bears, and they make them affordable as well. So I like to make them out of those because you can really get some character in their faces. So here we are at the other side of the desk. So there is Pompadour. Here is my little collection of weird things I like to keep. Old Singer sewing machine there. Wordsworth, he watches on. Bagpuss. These are my Wind and the Willow collection. I am Wind and the Willow mad. Kenneth Grahame is my favourite author, and I love Wind and the Willows. My whole life is based around being cosy, and I'd love to be Mole or Ratty from Wind and the Willows. So yeah, I've got lots of books and bits and memorabilia on Wind and the Willows. It's one of my favourite things. I used to share the stories and that with my dad. It was one of the things that I grew up with, and I absolutely love it. So here's a very special little box. This is Ollivander's Finest Wands. So as I say, I believe in magic, and all my bears are stuffed with magic, and I use these wands. So I've got lots of Harry Potter wands, which I've been brought over the years by different people. So here we've got I think that might be Dumbledore's. And then yes, we've got lots of wands in here. And then these wands are me and the children find. We see a stick, and if we think it got a bit of magic in it, we make it into a nice wand, and I use them to stuff the bears. The end here, I've used I set fire to the end and used the charcoal that's left to help colour on the teddy bears' faces and around their eyes. So that's an unusual way, but again it breathes more magic into them. So I'll just take you along slowly so you can see there's so much to take in. Here's Margaret, my sewing machine. This is little Margaret. This is Nick's mum's sewing machine. I use her, as you probably saw if you watched the Pompadour restoration. I used her. She's easy. I can move her about. So if I'm going to sit with the kids in the living room, I'll take her with me. This was my granny's and my grandpa's. So keep that on there. Pompadour stuffing whilst he waits for his growler. So these are all my discs that help put the bears together. Nick actually makes these for me. I don't buy them. Everything's handmade. So they're made for me, and we make them out of reclaimed wood. So old picture frames, anything that's of the right sort of thickness, we'll make into a joint for a bear. This is an old croquet mallet which Nick rounded off for me and varnished. So when the bears are finished and you need to move the stuffing about, sounds terrible, but I beat them with it to get a good shape. So this is an old croquet muff. I wonder how many games that's played on the lawn. So this is my modern box of eyes, but to be honest with you, they're so tiny I need something modern because I need to keep them organised. This is all my eyes. And then what else we got? More fabric up here. This is a really cool puppet. I collect puppets, so this is oh, what's the word? Little Red Riding Hood. So this is Granny, but when you turn her upside down, she becomes Little Red Riding Hood. And if you turn her round, she becomes the wolf. So I think she's very cool. She's a very unusual and clever puppet. And then here, we have a funny little man with tin feet. The kids love him because he makes lots of noise when you get him down. This is Nick's father's. He was in the Royal Navy and it's got all his medals on it. Oh, you can't see because of the light. I'll have to show you that in the light. I'll take it off. Hold on. So that hangs in here. It's got pride of place. And yeah, hangs here, and it's often commented on. He was such a tiny man. I can't believe it. When you look at the size of Nick, and then you look at the size of his dad, he was a young lad, but my goodness, he must have been absolutely minute. So that hangs up in here with pride. We leave that hanging there. Here, so as I say, everything is either reclaimed or handmade. There's something, I try to make them as traditional as possible, the bears. So if I have to use new fabric, which obviously sometimes I do, I try to put something antique on it. So I recently brought this, which is an old cowbell. So it can't be saved. A lot of the bells have fallen off. So these bells I'm going to take off and polish up with a bit of my favourite stuff, Brasso. And I think we'll have some lovely bells to put on some bears, and the history that goes with them is pretty cool. And I've got a little thing of bells here. Oh, the light. This is all for the different bells. So I obviously collect bells. You need bells with bears. This is Mr. Toad. I made him. He's going to be a puppet from Wind in the Willows. Again, my little infatuation with Wind in the Willows. So what have we got here? We've got a big old steamer, which I have all offcuts of bear in. More fabric. Rupert's drawings, obviously very important. More fabric here. This is really cool. I picked this up. This came from a stately home. It's all handmade. It's got all the original. Again, the light's really bad. I'll have to come back to that with some light. If I can get one out. These are. I'm not sure they would have belonged in an old fort, but these lovely old soldiers are in there. These were Nick's dad's soldiers, so they live in there. Rupert plays with this all the time. He's in here. And then here you have my collection of hats. So I've got some very unusual hats. This is my dad. My dad was a police officer. Oh, that's Toby walking overhead. So this was my dad's. And then got this is randomly my grandpa's from when he went off travelling. This is very old. This has got to be about 100 years old. This is the Magic Man. We met a lovely chap and his wife a couple of years ago. We were given this hat. We called him the Magic Man. So we have the Magic Man's hat, and Rupert comes in and puts the Magic Man's hat on every now and again when he needs to recharge his magic. So the Magic Man hat stay up there. This is my pound puppy that I had when I was a little girl. This here I'll have to show you another day. My grandfather was a tailor, and or a hunt tailor at the time. Many years ago, they used to make the top hats for the for the riders, and you know, country gentlemen. And this here, it's a Millard and something, I think it's called, but it's a hat maker. It's a hat stretcher, so you'd have made the old silk top hats on it. But one day I'll show you how that works when I've learnt, to be fair, because it looks quite complicated. This is again all fabrics. Little witch, she looks after me. Another castle, I have a little collection of castles and more fabric. This teddy bear actually belongs to someone. He's never made it home. They know he's here. He's very well looked after. He's been restored. He just sits on the shelf waiting to be picked up. I've got another castle here. More fabric. You need lots of fabric. Basil brush. There he is. He's lovely old Basil brush. And here we've got a very old typewriter down here. These, at Yule time, you'll learn all about these. We call these the dummy elves. They're Rupert's, how do I explain it? They watch Rupert. They keep appearing around the house to make sure he's being a good boy. So Papa Elves, Father Christmas, Papa Noel, whatever you call him, when he comes, he knows that Rupert's been a good boy and been trying hard. So these little elves, the dummy elves, they restored. They've come from Norway. They're little Norwegian elves, the Scandinavian elves. And yeah, they follow him around the house, and sometimes he finds them sitting in his bed or looking at him from the roof and things. So he loves them. He loves them. When they go moving, he talks to them, and he comes in. I hear him chatting to them all the time, telling them what he'd like for Yule. So yeah, they'll start moving about soon. Here's my collection of books. Rupert Annuals and Beatrix Potter, and all sorts of old stories there. And Rupert the Bear. This was the book my dad used to read me, so that sits there, obviously, with Rupert the baby. You can see where the name came from. Fungus the Bogeyman. Very old Golly. Tiny little stiff lion. More medals. So these are the roses and the lavender that I use in the stuffing for the bears when I make them. This is my great grandfather at the back here. That was his shop, Windsors of Exeter. Another old clock. So I restored this. This was it's a rocking horse. Again, Rupert loves it. He drives around on it all the time. It's on the shelf now because he's getting a bit heavy now. This would be for Oscar to play with. We've got more up there. And then here, see, it starts to get a bit dark in this corner. So this is all my cups and plates and for when I do my tea. You can't see. I'm going to. And there's the old cottons and strings that I used to make the bears are all kept in there. Here we have two very large giraffes. So this here is Dorothy May. She's very, very important to me. As I told you in the video when I restored Pompadour, she's my very first sewing machine and I absolutely love her. So Dorothy May will be in action all this week because she's going to be making bears with me. And at the back, I don't know if you can quite make them out there. That's more sewing machines. I think in total I've got about 12. They've all been named and they're all looked after and serviced. Right, so if I go around here, so these are my bears. Next week I'm doing a fair, like a artisan craft fair. So these bears are in the process of being made. Here's another sewing machine here. As I say, they're all named. So this one, obviously I can't remember the names given the fact I've got so many names outside. This is Betty, and she was made in 1926 at Elizabethport, New Jersey, USA. Wombles anthem, annual. Everyone needs a Wombles annual. If we go over here. Again, it's very dark in here, there's no light. So there's more bears up on here, which you can just see. My old clock, I love this clock, my potbelly French clock. It ticks away over there. Doll's house, that's lovely. When it's lit up, it's got little open fireplaces in it, so you can, the kids absolutely love it when that's on. Obviously the little lights going, imagine who's living in there. And then Paddington Pear and Aunt Lucy sitting on another sewing machine. An extremely creepy doll who I feel is pretty awful, but someone loved her and she's got pride of place in my room in her own little. Someone gave me this lovely little pram, so she lives in it all covered up. I'm not going to lie, she does freak us all out, but I'm sure once upon a time she was much adored. So she stays here. Little bit of a reality check every now and again. And then over here we've got more sewing machines, and this bit over here is where I do all of my painting and touching up of any old vintage toys that come in. So this is my paint shop over here. And down there I have all wood wool, which this is hand stripped wood wool off like cherry tree, from some lovely people called Spindle Tree who make wooden bowls and ornaments, and yeah, they very kindly kept it aside for me, so I've got that, so I use that again, so that stuffs my bears. And then we're back to the puppets, and here they are. And the kids are having so much fun with these at the moment. So I'm going to go because we've got lots and lots to do. I've got lots and lots of bears to make. I wanted to show you, have a quick look at my room and see where I come to relax and sit with the boys. And to be honest with you, as I say, we all spend so much time in here. It's like going back to your gran's, just like me, really. Very, very old fashioned. This is Scooty the scooter. We got that for Rupert one Christmas. He's very old. I think it must be from the 1960s. I say very old, it's not that old, but it's old enough to not be as modern as they are nowadays. And Rupert absolutely loves it. And Charlie, they would fly about up there. So yeah, so I'm going to go and upload this video for you, and then we'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Bye bye.